so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's review and recap Real Housewives of Miami. This is season 5, part 1 of the reunion. I know I'm late because they already released part 2, but we gonna get it together. We catching up right now, so let's get to it. All right, y'all. So y'all know reunions are a lot, so I'm gonna try my best to give you the best review I can give you. Okay. So the episode opens up and we're in New York. We see all the ladies getting ready in their dressing room. Larsa ends up bringing Marcus Jordan. Lisa ends up bringing her new boo, Jody. I think that's not that man's name. It's like Gody. Is that how you say Jody or spell Jody? Honestly, I think it's throwing me off because the way I've always seen Jody is Godie, whether it's reference for a girl or a boy. So I feel like that's that man's name. We see everyone's there except Kiki. Kiki ends up coming in the middle of the episode, but like we see Marisol and Adriana are there. They're getting ready as well, and Andy's doing his thing where he goes around and checks the temperature. He meets all the girls. He's trying to see like where they at, and so we get to the stage. The stage was actually an homage to Nicole's her engagement party, which it was like the bank. So they get on the stage. Nicole already is being shady by asking Larsa, like, do you know where we are, Larsa? And Larsa's like, no, I don't. And then everyone's like, oh, this was her, this is the place where her engagement party was thrown at. And Larsa's like, oh, okay, like, I was uninvited, so why would I know? Larsa was just like, I didn't. It's kind of like Larsa didn't catch the shade, but she did. But she was just kind of like, I don't care, kind of energy. So they start off. I will say the person that I thought was best dressed was actually Adriana because she fit the theme the best to me. The theme was Bond Girl, and Adriana gave me Bond Girl. Like, I could legit see Adriana like in like an older Bond movie if it's like black and white or newly in color, and like she's in like they're like in like a one of them like jazz clubs, and it's a whole bunch of smoke everywhere. She got one of them long like stick cigarette things, and she just in the corner vibing, and then Bond walk in and he see her and he realized she the spy. They got the codes and he got to go up to her. She's giving that to me, so I had to give her best dress. Okay, I just had to. And then the worst dress with me was Julia because it gave me like Arabian Night, Genie in a Bottle, and I was like, that's not the theme. It looked like a costume to me. Some people were like, girl, how did Gertie beat out Adriana? Because I did do a real critique of these outfits, and if you want to check that video out, it's on the drama playlist, so you can find it and check it out. And I said Gertie's outfit was a performance outfit to me. Like, if I were to see any of like the artist girls, so I'm like, even the rap girls like a Nicki or Doja Cat or Cardi or Megan wear that outfit, or even if it was like one of the R&B girls like Chloe, Tinashe, who else be singing? Beyonce would never wear that. She probably might wear it in a music video. I can see Rihanna wearing that. But like in a music, it gave music video vibes for me. Like if I were to see that in a music video, I'd be like, oh, that's hot. That's hot. But it didn't give me Bond Girl. But I did think it was cool that the outfit was like actual made of chains. And like we saw them with the tweezers, and that it weighed 25 pounds, which that is heavy. That is very heavy. Like not very heavy, but it is heavy because, I have a weighted blanket and that is heavy on me. So like, I know that's heavy, but she did look beautiful. Gertie did look beautiful. I thought it was interesting that Alexia felt the need to stand up after Julia stood up after Andy was admiring her outfit. And Alexia seeks attention. She's an attention seeker. And the crazy thing is like, there's nothing wrong with having self-confidence, but when there's no self-awareness, that's when you run into people calling you a narcissist and saying the disparaging things that they say about Alexia. And she doesn't realize that like the dots don't be connecting, things don't be clicking, and the lights don't be turned on all the way. Okay? Just don't be on all the way. So I was just like, yeah, girl, sit down. She was like, you like the back, Andy? I said, girl, he didn't ask you to stand up. You didn't need to stand up. You could have just took your compliment and just ate it and kept it running. Before they really got into the swing of things, they bring up Martina's cancer diagnosis. And Julia lets us know that at first Martina thought maybe her lymph nodes were swollen because of uh, um, her shingle vaccination. Larsa gonna say, "What is shingles?" My thing, Larsa be Larsa, Larsa. You know I like you, Larsa, but you be sounding stupid because I'm nowhere near the age of Larsa. Larsa is almost 50 years old. Like, and it's just kind of like, Larsa, ma'am, ma'am. There are shingles commercial. We know shingles is, if you don't know what shingles is, I feel like you should, but if you don't know what it is, it's basically the chickenpox virus. Like if you don't get it as a child, you get it as an adult. And I've heard, because I got chickenpox when I was a kid, so I shouldn't get shingles, but you can still get it even if you have the virus. But I've heard that when you get older, it's a lot more painful to deal with. But I was like, Larsa, people know what shingles is. You should know what shingles is because you're around the age of where they encourage y'all to get the vaccination if you never had chicken pox. Shut up, Larsa. Oh, that was like, Larsa, you sound stupid. But I guess Martina thought maybe like her lymph nodes being swollen was due to the shingles vaccination, and the doctor was like, no. And when they were screening for the breast cancer, they ended up finding the throat cancer. So it was kind of like if they didn't find the throat cancer, no, if they didn't find that she had breast cancer, they wouldn't have found that she had throat cancer. And if they would have found that she had throat cancer, then vice versa, she would have found out that she had breast cancer, which sucks, which really sucks. And I really do hope she is able to overcome this and live a long life, like we don't like cancer. Cancer sucks ass. So they start getting on Lisa. So they run the hot mic moment when Lisa had her party, and we hear Lenny saying basically he didn't want to sleep with Lisa because that means he would be cheating on the woman that he actually loves. Everyone was like, girl, everyone's thinking Lenny's a dick. We found out that Lenny was invited to come to the reunion, and Lisa was like okay with it. She pretty much was like, she was hoping that there could have been like a one-on-one situation where she, like, I guess Andy would mediate a conversation between her and Lenny, but he declined not to come. Then everyone was kind of like, well, why be on the show if he was going to divorce you? Like, it is not helping. Like, y'all ended up having that date out in your backyard. We're seeing y'all be a family. Why did he not divorce you sooner? And Lisa ends up saying that pretty much she went out with her friends. She came back home at like 4:00 in the morning. She was like hungover, and he was just disgusted by her. So he'd already had these feelings of like wanting to divorce her, but he was just super duper disgusted by her. And he just told her, I want to divorce you. And everyone's like, what? And Lisa's like, he always used the D word when they argued. And Gertie was right. She was like, that's a form of like abuse to constantly tell someone, well, I'm going to divorce you. I'm going to divorce you. Same way we were like, we're going to just break up. I'm just going to break up with you. Eventually, you're trying to force the person to do what you want because you know they don't want that to happen. So everyone was just like, yeah, that was trash of him. We find out that Lisa pretty much knew the writing was on the wall. That's what it seems like to me. Like she already knew what was going down and what was going on. She was just hoping that it would like correct itself, in my opinion, because Larsa throws out there that Lisa and her caught Lenny in the hot tub with the girl when they were having like one of those parties that they have. And Lisa went up there. Both of them was like, what is this? And just pulls him out the hot tub. And Lenny was like, oh, it's not that deep. And everyone's like, girl, you should have known then that something was up. And I said, yeah, girl. And I think she said that happened like a year ago before they filmed season 4. And I'm like, girl, then you already knew he was doing things, and you should have been prepared. But maybe she just thought that it wasn't going to happen. They then talk about the video that was posted. We find out that Lenny's mom was the one that posted it on the internet because she was trying to like take a dig at Lenny, but then she kind of took it back, like took the video down or took back like her feelings about it, because Lenny kind of told his mom that Lisa went to New York, even though she was going to BravoCon, to like be away from the family, and the mom felt some type of way. Lenny's mom is stupid, but like Alexia says, she's technically in a hard place. And like I've told y'all, Lenny mom gives that she doesn't have any money of her own, and like her and her husband or Lenny's father and her are solely dependent on Lenny, so she gonna do what Lenny tells her to do, because if she don't, she ain't gonna have nowhere else to go. That's just what it is. So everyone's just like, wow, like he's trash. Like Lenny is trash. They then bring up Jody being there. And my thing about Jody is giving fan vibes. Jody is Lisa's new man, but he's giving fan vibes. Like when they were when she was in the dressing room getting ready and she was trying to be like all flirty with him, it felt awkward to me. And even though we'll get to Alexia and Adriana arguing, but when Alexia said that some men will date the housewives because they get a hard on for being with them, I believe that. I believe a lot of people who date like celebrities or reality stars with ill intentions, it is to raise their social capital and their visibility. And he kind of gives that because the conversation was awkward, and I feel like he knows that by attaching himself to Lisa Hutchinson while she's going through this public divorce, and it's a really messy divorce, that he will be casted in a brighter light because he's attached to Lisa, and because like his name's going to be out there, because we didn't know who he was until Lisa started dating him. But something about him just don't seem right. It doesn't seem like his feelings for Lisa are very genuine. So they stop there, and then we have Marisol and Adriana pull up. Marisol got that bullhorn, so let's get to y'all. So, like I said, Marisol and Adriana come up on stage, and I got annoyed, especially when it came to the seating arrangements. Y'all know I don't really see it for Nicole or Gertie, but I can be fair when I talk about the reviews and stuff like that. But there's something about Gertie that screams, I'm playing a character. And I did not like what she said about Kenya. And I'm not even a Kenya fan, but I don't like when people who don't know you like to be like, oh, I was disappointed when I met them. She said that about an interaction that her and Kenya had at BravoCon, and I was like, oh, you're that type of person, Gertie. I don't vibe with them people. But I did not like the seating arrangements. I did not like how they put Gertie at the end of the couch when she's a full-time cast member, and they put what's her name? They put Adriana in the middle so she could sit by Julia. And I was like, why couldn't y'all move her ass down to the end of the couch like y'all had Marisol at the end of the couch on the left side? Like, I did not like that. I didn't like it at all. Like, I was like, that don't look right to me. I already didn't like the placement on that side of the couch because I felt like Gertie should have been sitting next to Nicole and then Julia and then put Adriana at the end. But I definitely didn't like how they made Gertie move to the end of the couch. I ain't like that. It annoyed me. It annoyed me very much. So an argument ensues between Larsa and Adriana because there was a comment where they bring up about like, don't you think it's hypocritical of you, Adriana, to be wanting to get a Brazilian butt lift or any type of butt enhancement when you've been on Larsa's neck about hers? And Larsa lies and says her booty ain't real. And I'm like, Larsa, we can go all the way back to like the early 2000s and we know your butt ain't real. There's nothing wrong with you admitting that your butt is fake. Like, we're in this day and age where like almost everybody has some type of enhancement, or getting enhancements to your body is really easy now. Like, people got fake abs, fake calves, fake booties, people getting their eye color changed. Like, you have that ability. Like, why not admit it? But if she doesn't want to admit it, that's her right. I just don't like how Adriana is trying to force her to come, like, to be truthful about it, when it's like, it's not your right because it's not your body, so shut up. Like, and it would be different if like Larsa was critiquing everybody's body and saying how much her body was looking the best, or she had this or she had that. But she has only like made comments about people's bodies when they attack her first. So it's just like, I'm like, Adriana, hush, just shut up, hush. So we then have Marisol's segment where they ask her about her drinking. And y'all know I like Marisol. I know a lot of y'all don't, but I like the lady. I like her a lot. But they ask her like, girl, you gotta, the viewers feel like you got a drinking problem. Do you got a drinking problem? And I know I saw a lot of people feel like Marisol was given drunkorexic. And if you don't know what that is, it's like someone who is anorexic, but instead of like not eating, they still don't eat, but they substitute liquor for food. Because Marisol had made like some comments throughout this season that a lot of people were like, ooh, girl. Like, it sounds like she has like kind of a challenging relationship with food. So she was like, no, I'm not, like, I'm branding because because we know she has her own drinking line coming out. They then asked Dr. Nicole about her comment where she was like, Marisol's always drunk. And she was like, I don't think she and Nicole was like, I don't think she be waking up at like in the morning and drinking. And so then Marisol's rebuttal to that was like, well, at least I'm not an aggressive drunk like you are. She was like, I'm nice. And Marisol's like, when I get drunk, I'm laughing, I'm giggling, I'm dancing. Like, if if no one gets hurt, I hurt myself more than anything. And they bring up what happened at Nicole's engagement party. And I told y'all in my review, I didn't like how Nicole like shoved down or pushed down Marisol's hand when Marisol was trying to comfort her, because had Marisol like popped her back or hit her back, then it would have been warranted, because like don't do that to me. But I understood Nicole's frustrations in that moment, because she felt like nobody was understanding how what Larsa did crossed the line. And like Nicole said on the couch, like, you're messing with my livelihood, something I went to school for and worked very hard for. Like, of course I'm going to be defensive, of course I'm going to be angry, and it's understandable. And it was understandable, but it was just kind of like, girl, don't be putting your hands on nobody unless you're ready to get that back. So they move on to that. They then start talking about Nicole and her dad. We find out that her dad hasn't said sorry yet, but they have had 2 more sessions of therapy together, which she said has been good. She talks about how, if it wasn't for the ladies encouraging her to have this conversation with her father, she probably would have never had it. So she appreciates them for that. She also talks about how, I wish he would say sorry. She was like, she got teary-eyed and began to cry, and the other ladies were like, oh. Low-key, I think she got annoyed with Adriana when Adriana starts bringing up her dad not being in her life and not protecting her. Because Nicole didn't even, like, acknowledge her when Adriana was, like, trying to hold her hand. Nicole just looked straight forward, and I was just like, girl. I was like, your friend trying to have a moment with you. And Nicole was like, girl, this is my moment. Don't do that. I did get annoyed with Alexia and Larsa. We're basically telling Nicole, like, just accept him. Like, he's trying. Like, he doesn't need to say sorry. Him crying was his way of showing that he cared. Like, that's how you know someone's really sorry, through their actions. And we do know Larsa and Alexia are of a certain age. Like, Alexia is like in her 50s. Larsa is about to be in her 50s. So they're a part of that, like, culture. Of some women that really were really rooted in like patriarchy and being male identified and male centered. So I kind of got where they were coming from, because the dad does look uncomfortable when Nicole brings up things. But I also think Nicole contradicts herself when she's like, she wants to have this relationship with her father, but then she wants it on her terms. And it's kind of like, you can't do that with a human. You can't do that unless that human is willing to agree to those terms. And you'd have a father that's not willing to do that. So you can't do that with him. And I'd be looking at Nicole like, girl, your daddy not like that. Your daddy not like that. Because I just feel like as the conversation went on, it was kind of like everybody was going in circles. Like, Nicole brung up about the whole car accident, how she got hit and she was in the ICU for a month and he really didn't come see her. And she was like, I want him just to acknowledge and like apologize, and then they bring up about how she still hasn't met the girlfriend, even though he's been with the girlfriend for like almost 3 or 2 years, but she's like 29 and he's like in his 70s, and she just like, she don't think it's right. But then Larsa jumps in and she was like, age ain't nothing but a number. I said, age ain't nothing but a number when you have consenting adults, ma'am. Age does matter. It does matter. Okay, now I know you with Marcus, I know you with the Jordan boy, but girl, don't be making statements like that. But I don't know. I feel like this should be the last time Nicole brings up her dad, Because at this point, it's like you can't be upset about people having critiques about your father when you put your father on display. And you can't be upset about people having critiques about you when you choose to put him on display. I don't think Nicole is a brat because she said people try to say she's a brat. But I also feel like you can't force somebody to do what you want them to do. Like, I somewhat agree with Larsa and Alexia when they were like, you just have to accept him for who he is. But I also agree with Nicole being like, well, I don't want to. But it's like, if you want the man in your life, then there's things you're going to have to compromise on. And if you're not willing to compromise on them, which is your right, then you have to swallow that really hard pill that your father just might not be in your life going forward. Because at this point, you're going around in circles, and it does kind of make you look kind of crazy when it's like, ma'am, he's coming around more. He's not being drunk. Y'all are moving forward, but you can't, like, I don't know. I just feel like at this point we're just going around in circles because it's just kind of like you can clearly tell Nicole loves her dad and she wants to have a relationship with her father, but she wants them on her own terms. And like I said, you can't do that to someone who's not agreeing to be on the same terms as you. So if you're not going to accept him, then don't have him in your life. And you just have to accept that you made the right decision moving forward, not having that person in your life. But if you do want him in your life, then you're going to have to accept him with his flaws. And you have to figure out how to move where what he does not affect you because you have accepted him in your life. That's just how I feel about it. But in that segment, I did see something that made me be like, it might be trouble in this friendship. I really think that, you know, right now everyone is making Marisol and Alexia like a package deal, like they're doing Giselle and what's her name, Robin. But this reunion, I saw a crack because, excuse me, Marisol was able to sympathize with Nicole. Like, she wasn't on Alexia or Larsa's side. In the past season, she kind of was. But she was sitting there. She got teary-eyed when Nicole started crying. She started dabbing her eyes. She also even said, like, I understand now. Like, after hanging out with your daddy at that party, I got his vibe and his energy. I get why y'all have issues. And I was like, And then she was making faces, especially when we got down to Alexia's segment, where I was like, Marisol seems to me to have more compassion for people than Alexia. And I think once we go to Ultimate Girls Trip and see how that situation happened, I think seasons moving prior, like going forward, if Marisol is still here, their friendship is either going to dissolve or they're probably going to not be as close as they used to be. And maybe Marisol might branch out and start being closer to the other women. But I can see that happening. I definitely can see that happen. But let's move on to Alexia and her crazy self. All right, y'all. So Alexia's segment, it was so much going on during this segment. Everybody was yelling. Everyone was raising their voice. So if I missed something, my bad. So we get to this segment and Alexia's footage runs. The first argument she kind of gets into it with Nicole, because Nicole said something about, like, you know, you saying you a star is a mess. We then have a scene where before they really got into it really badly is when Adriana got up. Adriana kept pulling out bits and pieces of paper, and she gives Andy the paper that says, like, the textbook definition of what a narcissist is. And pretty much everyone feels like Alexia is a narcissist. She doesn't apologize to people. She censors herself and everything. And she has too much confidence. And there's nothing wrong with a woman having confidence, or anybody having confidence. It's just when you don't have that self-regulator or that person inside you, or you can't be self-reflective, that's when it becomes toxic. And in this segment, Alexia pretty much kind of showed that she is toxic. Because I was like, girl, you saying things and things are not connecting and they're not clicking and you're not taking accountability. The only thing I agree with Alexia with is, like, I'm not saying sorry if I don't mean it. Like, that is what I've been taught. Like, my mom has always said, don't say sorry if you don't mean it, because it's one less thing you got to answer to the Lord for when it's your time to come, you know? But I don't believe in people just apologizing if it's not sincere. And I can give Alexia credit for her being like, if I don't feel it, I'm not saying sorry. Because you want me to apologize? And then when I repeat the behavior, you're gonna be mad because you're gonna be like, you said sorry, and I'm gonna be like, well, I ain't mean it. Like, so she gets into it with Nicole because Nicole brings up the whole I'm a star situation. And all of a sudden, Gertie chimes in and she talks about, well, Alexia, you didn't take accountability about them flowers, where Alexia pretty much says she felt like Gertie sending flowers was like staged, like it wasn't genuine. And Gertie was like, how is me not sending flowers genuine when I sent flowers because I wanted to send flowers and I was at someone else's wedding? And she was like, it just didn't feel genuine. So they're going back and forth. They then start talking about the event, how Gertie was just kind of like, you you compared our two events. And Alexia was like, well, I did think Marisol's bachelorette party was better than yours, which I call BS because Marisol's bachelorette party was at the Versace mansion. Gertie started Gertie's charity event. She did that from scratch. So how do you compare the two? I just think Alexia wanted to take a dig because she feels some type of way that Gertie didn't take. Gertie wasn't like willing to like kiss the ring or bend the knee in order to kiss Alexia's ass to help her. And I also feel like Alexia took it as Gertie shafting her after her mom died, and she was just kind of like, you see what I'm going through, like you could be more helpful. But I do feel like Alexia's full of it. They start going back and forth. I didn't like the fact that Alexia called Gertie difficult to work with because we know what that means when people of a certain hue, no matter if you're a white Latino, keyword white, say that about black people or people of color, darker people of color. We know what that means. You label somebody that way, saying that they're difficult to work with, especially black women, like it's kind of like over for you. And I don't think Gertie is difficult to work with. I just think Alexia feels some type of way that Gertie wasn't like up her butt after her mom passed away and was really trying to like help her with her wedding, which it wasn't Gertie's fault. Like you didn't run a return calls, voicemails, or emails. Like she wasn't about to drop all her stuff just to help you out. So they're going back and forth. I didn't mind Alexia yelling at Gertie because I felt like when Gertie's like, you're yelling, and I'm like, Gertie, you won't shut up. Like, that's one thing. I need Gertie to learn how to like argue, but argue in a way where she gets to the point. Because even in that argument, Gertie to me was going around in circles. Like, girls, mean what you say and say what you mean. But they were going back and forth. And like, she was like, raise your voice. And I'm like, well, she raised her voice because you keep talking. You talking over her. And you're raising your voice because she keep talking and you want to talk over her. So it was just kind of like, to point that out didn't make sense. But I really didn't like that comment Alexia made about her being difficult to work with. So then she was like, just apologize. I think Gertie was like, apologize about the flowers. And Alexia didn't do it. And that's when Alexia said, like, I don't apologize if I don't mean it. So they then get on to excuse me. They then get on to the prostitution comment that she made about Julia. And this is the only time I think we've seen Alexia actually say I'm sorry and mean it, because we get a flashback of Alexia going up to Julia and like really saying, I'm sorry, like I didn't mean to offend you. But it was funny as hell when Marisol threw out, like, there's a stigmatism. And then Adriana was like, girl, that's an eye condition. I said, they meant to say stigma because they were talking about certain stereotypes as it pertains to certain groups of people. And everyone was laughing. And then that's when you could see Marisol got mad because, like, no one likes to feel stupid. And she said, like, okay, Miss Airmax. And then that's when Nicole was like, I can be your co-signer. And I said, ooh, bitch, she kind of got you right there, Marisol. And I like you, girl, but she got you. She got you. So they talk about that. We then get on to the whole Adriana thing. Adriana ends up pulling out another receipt where pretty much it seems like Alexia tried to set Adriana up with a married man before, and it was like right before they started filming the show. And it was like, Alexia, because they asked Alexia, like, does she want to apologize? And then that's when Alexia started saying, like, Adriana rents men, and Adriana just wants her life, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And honestly, Adriana saying, like, they're dehumanizing me. Girl, Adriana, you give off bitter teas. Like, we're just going to have to call a thing a thing. Like that comment about the watch and how you were like, well, I bought my own watch. You do give off kind of bitter tease, sis. So I can see Alexia saying that, but I can also get with Adriana being like, I don't need to, like, I don't gotta pay nobody to be my to sit next to me. And I don't believe Adriana would ever do that. Like Adriana is pretty. Like for her to be of a certain age, mama look good. Like I think many of men would like to be sitting next to Adriana and in her company. But we gotta call a thing, girl. You do critique everybody else having men, so it does give off the illusion that you wanna be them. Or like not I won't say want to be them, but you are envious of the things that they are able to get from other parties that you seemingly have to work hard for. They then bring up Adriana's husband, her ex-husband, which Adriana shut that down really quick because she started to stand up. And I was like, no, I want to know what's going on with that. Like, was that man married and y'all got together, girl? But I will give Adriana props for pulling out that, like, her receipt, because it's like, girl, you talking about me being with a married, like, trying to be with a married man, but girl, I don't do that. That's not my character. I'm not a home wrecking whore. That's not who I am. So I got where Adriana was coming from. I was like, okay, with your little receipts, Adriana. So then, what we get to? Adriana, Alexia going back and forth. They get to the black Air Max thing. I told y'all it wasn't a flex for me. I'm sorry. I feel like she should have threw her a credit card at the other ladies, but it wasn't a flex to me. There then was an argument between Nicole. It was Nicole, Adriana, Larsa, and Alexia. And Larsa chimes in and she was like, because Nicole was saying, like, Alexia, you want everyone to, like, grovel at your feet when you're done wrong, but you can never apologize or give someone a, I'm sorry. And Larsa was like, where's my apology? Because you judged me. You didn't even know me. And then they started talking about, like, the whole bastard comment. But I kind of looked at Nicole's like, girl, okay, she said it. Like, you did have your child out of wedlock, and that doesn't mean your child's a bastard. But if we gonna call a thing, like, you got caught up at their table. Because Larsa did clear Nicole at the table. Because Larsa was like, girl, I have never judged you, even though you've had your kids out of wedlock, and I was married when I had all my kids. And Nicole was gooped. We're not gonna lie. Nicole was gooped when Larsa said, well, I ain't had no kids out of wedlock. I was married when I had my kid. I ain't never judged you. And Andy was like, we're not gonna go back, because she was like, we're gonna have y'all segment. But I definitely feel like there's an air with Nicole where she does feel like she's better than the ladies. And I mean, like, I can get where she coming from. Like, I'm a whole doctor. My man got money. I'm younger than y'all. I'm that girl. But it was just kind of like, Nicole, girl, she ate you at that table. I don't care what nobody says. Because Nicole was not expecting Larsa to say that, because she paused for a minute. She was like, oh. Finish up the episode where they're harping on that whole I'm a star, and Alexia ends up saying that she is a star, and all of y'all should feel like stars, and maybe if you felt like me, like you would be a star too. She then directs this energy towards Lisa, because Lisa talks about the whole Air Max situation, and she basically said, I was embarrassed by all of y'all. Like, if you're gonna be honest, I was embarrassed by all of y'all. That whole situation was supposed to be for me, and I was embarrassed by all of y'all. And then that's when Alexia said, if you guys would be stars like Lisa, I promise you, if you would feel the same way I would feel, you wouldn't be going through what you're going through with Lenny. And everyone was like, girl. She was like, I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel. And everyone's looking at Alexia like, why would you say that? I don't know. The thing about Alexia is, like, I think Alexia does have this air of, like, being, like, she feels like she's that girl. I don't know if it's because she was with Herman or because she got asked back to go be with this show. She with, is that man Tom? Tom, and he got money. I don't know. But Alexia does have this energy where she's like, I'm an OG. I can say what I want, and y'all not going to take me down because I'm that girl. But it's kind of like, well, sis, you really not that girl. And you should probably pipe down. But someone does need to check Alexia. But I don't know. Some of them it kind of feels like they won't go there with Alexia. But I don't know why they won't go there with Alexia. Because Alexia is an easy read. She definitely is. But yeah, y'all. That is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and hop down in them comments below.